Okay, let's talk about scheduling and why it's important in a construction project. A typical remodeling could go anywhere between a month and a year and a half, depending on the size of the project. It's important to know the order that things should happen in. What you don't want to have happen is that one subcontractor or trade finishes one. Now you've called the next one and they say, all right, well, I'm busy for 2 weeks. I'll get there. You want to know that you've scheduled them tightly so that they show up on the job exactly when you're ready for them and there is no lag. When I start a job, let's say it's a 6 month job, I figure that every day that I lose from 6 months costs $1,000. It could be more or less depending on the project, but for the most part, I'm looking at about $1,000 a day in the cost of overhead and the cost when the project is all done. That you can use it, you can rent it, you can sell it, whatever you can do, and you get your money, and now you can use that money for other things. So, with that in mind, if I'm focused on that 6 month period in the very beginning, when I'm digging the footings, if they're a day late, I've already worked it out in my head that it's going to be 6 months and one day, and it's an extra $1,000. So how do I know that it's going to be 6 months on this project? I can't just look at it and go, yeah, that's a 6 month project with any accuracy, but only by breaking down the individual tasks such that I know where I am at any point and how many days each individual task is going to take. That's how I can build a schedule. I'm now using a program called ProjectLibre, and it tells me exactly where I am at any point. Now, I have to build it from scratch, but I do that by looking at the project and logically thinking what has to happen and in what order and how long it should take. I can be wrong by 2 or 3 days on the plumbing or 3 days on the painting, but if I sit down and write a basic schedule, I'll know roughly where I am, and then I can modify it. When I get the painter on the job site and he says, "No, I can do this in 2 days," I can adjust my schedule. And with a good Gantt chart, which ProjectLibre is, it will allow you to adjust, take off 2 days for the painter, and the whole project will change its finish date. But you'll know where you are all the time if you keep it up. Basically, what I'm going to do now is show you how to use it as a basic program, and later on we can get into much more detail. Let's start listing the tasks that we have to do to build a remodeling project. Well, to start off with, we need a demo, and then we're going to put in a foundation if we're doing addition, or some foundation if we're making new points that are carrying the load of the building. So sometimes we have to go through the crawl space, put in a footing so that we support a beam or something like that. So we're going to say foundation. And then we're going to say framing. And next, once the frame is done, you're going to do plumbing. Okay, so I've added all the tasks there. You didn't need to watch me type them all in. This isn't an all-inclusive list. I'm just trying to give you a show of how you deal with the tasks. Obviously, there's much more that has to happen after paint, and we can delve into much deeper detail at each stage. But this is a quick look. And now what we have is it automatically assigns 1 day to each item. Well, let's say I'm just going to take a guess based on a small addition and maybe kitchen redo and a bathroom redo. And I'm going to say the demo of the existing cabinetry, the existing drywall, and taking down to stud walls and maybe even removing some walls. It's going to take 3 days. I'm going to take about 5 days to pour the foundation because I need to form it. I need to put rebar in there, maybe have it inspected. And then we'll say 5 days for framing. And let's say the plumber needs 3 days, and HVAC or air conditioning and heating, we need, let's say, 3 days, and 3 days for electrician and low voltage, meaning security cameras, sound systems, things like that. We'll give them 2 days. 1 day for the inspection, and then we can insulate. That'll take about a day. And drywall, well, let's look at drywall. I've broken it down into hanging the drywall board, taping it, mudding it, and there's actually 2 coats of mudding. And then when it dries, you sand it. So all of these items are part of drywall. So I can indent them and put them as part of drywall and roll it up or have it show the individual detail. And I don't want to say in the overall of drywall how many days it is. I want to say, let's say it's going to take 3 days to hang the drywall board. It's going to take a day to tape it, and let's give it 3 days of mudding because it's got to dry in between coats, and then a day of sanding. So now we have the whole drywall picture, and let's keep going to tile. Let's give them 4 days to tile the bathroom, kitchen, whatever you have to do there. And then you can add the cabinets. That'll take a day to install them. And the floor might be 2 days. And trim, meaning baseboard, casing around windows, hanging, swinging, pre-hung doors, things like that. Let's go 3 days for that. And with priming and painting, let's call it 3 days. Okay, now we have a basic task list, the duration it's going to take, and now we look at what has to happen first. And now foundation has to follow demo, and framing follows foundation. Okay, so now I've set it up so that the tasks follow each other. And looking at the start and finish dates, we can see that if I were to start at 9/24/2024, by 11/27/2024, I should be completing the project based on this list of tasks. So it's roughly a 2-month project. Okay, I've gone ahead and added some exterior work right in here so that we can now analyze how the inside and the outside work together. So I have to many times replace the sewer. It's an older house. They want to put in a new sewer line, put in a new water line. You've got to grade all the dirt around the house, get rid of the old grass or dead grass or bushes, whatever. And then maybe you'll do the siding on the house, form the driveway and front walkway, pour the driveway concrete, and install the landscaping. But one of the things you don't want to do is start forming the driveway before the drywall board is hung, because often it comes in a big truck or they have to carry it by hand. And if you've got fresh concrete there, you're going to break it, or you're going to soil it or scuff it or whatever. So I like to wait to put in the driveway till the drywall board's in, maybe even the cabinets and tile, but at least I want to have the drywall board in there. And here on the right side, I show that. Here's the drywall, hang the drywall board. So when it comes there, once it's there and in the house and we start hanging it, I think it's this one right here. Once we've hung it, now I can come back and do forming my driveway and pour the concrete and do the landscaping, but not before. So what you have the red tasks and you have the blue tasks. And that tells me a day lost in any one of these, it's called critical path. They're on my critical path, all right? And so if I lose a day here, I lose a day at the end. If I lose a day here in the sewer or grading, those kind of things, I've got a lot of days I can make up without affecting the project. So this is called lag. So I know that whenever I get around to doing this project, what is this, the siding, I can do the siding in here, and if it takes 3 days extra or saves me a day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect my project. Now, if it got delayed to, let's say, here, now it becomes critical path. And if I don't get it done at that point, I've used up my lag, I'm holding up the job. Now I can go as detailed as I want. I can come in here and add a new line here for order tile. And let's say I know that the tile is going to take 5 weeks to show up. Well, I need to know when that tile should be ordered so that it hits the job on the right day. I don't want it sitting around for 2 weeks and getting broken or stolen. So I'd come in here under my predecessors. So now I know that if the tile is going to take 25 days and I want it to show up the day before I'm ready for tile, then I would put 17 start to start minus 25 days. And that puts the tile right here as far as ordering. And here's when we're going to install it. This has plenty of lag time. I can make this 35 days. And now look what it's showing me. that I better get this ordered in time. If I change this order tile, say it's 35 days, and I start it 35 days before tile goes in, the program is telling me that I better order it right at the beginning of the project, or I'm going to hold up the installation of tile. And then as I'm building, I start to watch these dates, how long things take, and adjust them day by day. But let's say electrical, there's some reason we had to order something in the rough electrical, and instead of being 3 days, it was 14 days. It kicks the whole schedule out. And now my order date for tile changes. Everything moves back a bit. All right. You can try and make it up too, in the respect that I could say, I'm going to change, make some things overlap. For instance, I'm going to put the cabinets in 2 days before the tile man finishes. So he's there for 4 days. I'll say to him, start in the bathroom, get the floor in. Now I can set my cabinet, and they can work simultaneously in separate rooms. Now, you may change the order of some of these things, and that maybe you put the cabinet in first and you'll tile right up to it, depending on the style of cabinet you have, whether there's a base or feet or things like that. So those are things you need to think about when you're building the order of how to task this job out. Okay. Now let's say that the total of 56 days is longer than you want the project to go. And you start to look at how can I trim some time off? Well, I can come in here and say, I'm going to send the plumber in before the framer finishes. So I would go finish, start, minus 2 days. And then maybe I'm going to do the same thing with the HVAC people. And I'm going to bring the electrician in right after the HVAC guy and the plumber have been on the job a couple of days, then he can come in. And they'll work side by side as long as they're not working in the exact same spot. Let's again say low voltage. I'm going to bring him in while the electrician is still working, and we're going to call that 7 days earlier. And while the electrician is working, I'm bringing in the inspection. No, I can't do that. I can't bring the inspection in until after plumbing. So 6, 7, 8. And now by doing that, I've kicked this inspection out after the electrical is done. Voltage would have a lot of lag here. It could go here, it could go back here. It doesn't matter. But the inspection can't happen till all the mechanicals and the framing is done. And then I can insulate. And let's say as I'm doing this, insulation ends up taking 3 days instead of 1. And you can see how everything changes right in there. So now we've cut the project down to 50 days. And you can see as things happen on the job site, whether they take longer or shorter, I can adjust this and know where I'm going to be. So that if the electrician gets done in only 10 days, I know that I need to contact the other people and get on their schedule for 4 or 5 days earlier, so that in here the drywaller knows I'm going to be ready for him sooner. By using this tool, we really get a better grasp of how the project's going and lay it out. So the plans might be for physically what we're going to do, what walls we're going to build, where everything is located. This program is designed to tell you at what point in time everything will happen. And if you use something like this, your job will run much smoother. Now, you can use pencil and paper and do all of this in pencil and paper, and just erase and change the dates and move your lines and all that kind of stuff. That works well. It's just that the program makes it a little bit easier. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Gary Binder. On our website, constructionconsultant.net, you'll find a link to ProjectLibre. You can click on that and get more information about the free program, ProjectLibre, and other things on our website. Also, please like and follow, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.